Today is Wednesday, Parashat Acharei Kedoshim. Parashat Kedoshim includes in it many mitzvot ben Adam lachavero, between a person and his fellow man. We'll just go over some of the mitzvot. One of them is lo ta'amod al dam re'acha. Do not stay aloof and not involved when you see someone who's at risk or in danger. Somebody fell into water and he's about to drown. Jump in there and save him from drowning. You see someone who's at risk of having some financial losses, and you can, through your advice or through certain information, can save him from that financial loss that he's at risk to have. Do it. Don't stay just uninvolved and not engaged. There's a mitzvah, and if you stay unengaged and not involved, you've transgressed one of the mitzvot of the Torah, which is lo ta'amod al dam re'acha. Another mitzvah in the Parashah that we'll read this week is lo tisna et achicha bilbavecha. Do not harbor hatred in your heart on your brother, on a fellow Jew. Don't. Even if you say, I've done nothing wrong to him, I have not hit him, I've not harmed him, but just to have that kind of bad emotions towards him, some hatred towards him, that in itself, you've transgressed one of the mitzvot of the Torah. Even if you haven't taken action against him, you haven't told him anything wrong, you have not offended him, you have not harmed him in any way, but just the fact of having hatred in your heart towards a fellow Jew is in itself avera, is in itself a transgression. That's one of the mitzvot in the Torah. Even if somebody offended you, you should realize that he was mishamayim. You were maybe supposed to hear that offense to be mechaper, to atone for some sin, and to make you a better person by you not reacting. So don't harbor that kind of hatred towards another person, even if it's just in your heart, not expressed. You've done nothing wrong to him. That in itself is avera, and that's one of the mitzvot in the Parashah of this week. It's a mitzvah, tochiach et amitecha. Sometimes you have to rebuke somebody. You see somebody doing something wrong. It's a mitzvah to correct him. But you have to do it. Velo tisa alav chet. You have to know how to do it. Don't, through you correcting him, cause him embarrassment. If you're to do it, let's say in public, because that would be a very grave sin to embarrass somebody in public. You have to know how to do it in a way to really, with the intention to improve him, not to show that you're better than him or anything like that. That your whole purpose should come from a motivation of love for that person, that you want him to do better. And therefore, the way that you present it to that person is very meaningful, how to say it in order to really gain the result that you want him to improve himself. And in the process, not to be hurt or embarrassed and that type of thing. And by the way, on this subject, in Masechet Yevamot, he says if somebody will not listen to you for sure, will not correct his ways, and you know that for a fact, better not to tell him anything. And the idea is to correct the person when there is a chance that he'll correct his ways. Other mitzvot that also are in the same theme, lo tikom, do not take revenge from somebody. Don't say, he did this to me yesterday, then therefore I'm gonna get even with him. He asked, yesterday I asked him to borrow a hammer, and he wouldn't want to give it to me. Today he comes and asks me for a tool. I'm gonna tell him, no, just the same way you didn't give me your tool yesterday, I'm not gonna give you mine. And sometimes people say, oh, he didn't invite me to a party, that's why I'm not gonna invite him to my, to the party that I'm organizing or to the wedding, etc. Do not take revenge. That's one of the mitzvot of the Torah. Velo titor. Titor is don't hold a grudge against someone. Even if, let's say, he asked you for a tool, or you asked him for a tool, he didn't give it to you, he comes and asks you for a tool, say, you know what? I'm not like you. I'm going to give you the tool, even though yesterday you didn't lend me yours. And you have that grudge in your heart. That's also a transgression of the Torah. And finally, very important statement in the Parashah of this week, to have love for every fellow Jew. And kamocha, just like you, even if you had done something that was not right, you would find ways to justify it. To say, well, I was tired, I was not paying attention. Somebody also makes a mistake, justifies actions, finds ways to justify it rather than to make him as at fault. And so that's why also we say, Bittan kol adam lechav zchut, just that way that you would judge yourself lechav zchut. And this is what Rabbi Akiva says. This is a great principle of the Torah. And that's just some of the mitzvot in the Parashah of this week. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.